I want you to imagine yourself as a 9-year-old whose father walked out before you were even born. Your mother's tender, loving care was all you knew. Her tender kisses on your forehead every morning, without fail. She would stare into your eyes and tell you how much she loves you. Now imagine waking up one day and that safety and security disappear from your life without any explanation. That would make anyone feel lost, unsure, and unsafe. This is an untold story of Alice. One morning, she woke up to a life-changing experience. The person whom she trusted for 9 years of her life put her into foster care. Alice woke up to see 3 suitcases in the living room, tears continuously running down her mother's eyes. She kept asking her mother, "What's wrong?" She replied, "I'm okay, darling. I'm fine. Don't worry about me." After breakfast, Alice and her mother, Rosie, left the house, but she only took one of the suitcases. Alice asked, "Where are we going?" But that only made Rosie more upset. Alice couldn't understand why she kept crying. Rosie refused to look Alice in the eye. Alice was confused. They got to a place with lots of kids playing. For 2 hours, Rosie and the people who worked there tried to get her to play with the other kids, but Alice refused. She could sense that something was very wrong. Then finally, the moment Alice had been waiting for from her mother, a kiss on the forehead, that deep stare in her eyes, followed by those 3 magic words, "I love you." Suddenly her mother walked away. Alice tried to follow, but the staff held her back. She became hysterical and began screaming uncontrollably. Her mother didn't look back. She continued walking. Later that evening, Alice tried to escape by climbing up the fence at the foster home. She fell off and broke her arm in 2 places. She was in excruciating pain. A few months after the fall, Alice saw an opportunity to escape, and she took it. Without being noticed, she walked for hours back in the direction of where she traveled when her mother took her there. She was now missing for 4 days. Finally, she was in familiar surroundings. She got back to the house that she used to live in, but there was another family living there. In a pile of rubbish at the front of the house, she saw things that belonged to her and her mother. On top of the pile was a photo album with lots of pictures of her and her mother, which she kept. She remembered a friend that was living close by whom her mother had fallen out with. She knocked on her door and was welcomed with open arms, as if she was expecting her. She was fed, had a shower, and was given a warm bed to sleep in. The next morning, early, Alice was awakened by a lady from the foster home, the police, and representatives from social services. By the looks on her mother's friend's face, Alice knew she had called them. To cut a long story short, over 4 years, Alice got placed in 7 different homes. Each time she ran away in search of her mother, Rosie. If you're liking this life story so far, please consider giving it a thumbs up, subscribing, or maybe sharing it with a friend or 2. It helps the algorithm to recognize us. Also, let us know where you're listening from in the comments. Thanks. Let's continue. At the age of 13, Alice was placed in another home for the 8th time. She felt broken, tired of running. She didn't try to run away. Her foster mother's name was Emma. Emma had 2 biological children of her own, Stan and Charlene. For 5 years, the 2 bullied Alice mercilessly. They forced her to do all the work, especially when her foster mother wasn't there. Alice never mentioned it to Emma in fear of the repercussions. She figured if she could ride it out until she was 18, she would be old enough to get a job and move out. Late one night, Stan came home drunk and tried to assault Alice. She cracked his head with an empty wine bottle. His sister, Charlene, stood there and didn't even do anything to stop him. Alice did not feel safe, so she ran away a week before her 18th birthday. Since she was 18 and considered an adult, they didn't bother to search for her. She spent 10 months on the street, sleeping rough on park benches, on night buses, in sheds, and in old cars. One thing that kept her going was the hope of one day finding her mother. Eventually, Alice got a job in a casino. She later discovered that Stan was the night manager. She was contemplating finding another job when Stan met up with her and apologized for all the years of bullying and for the attempted assault on her. Within no time, Alice was promoted to cashier supervisor on the night shift, thanks to the recommendation of Stan. But this was all a part of Stan's diabolical plan to set her up for a fall. 2 weeks into her new role, Alice was accused of stealing $40,000 from the safe. She spent 18 months in prison for something she knew nothing about. When she got released, she tried to rebuild her life, but being an ex-convict, it was difficult to get a job. She had a feeling that Stan was behind it, but she had no proof. Alice went to see Emma, her foster mother. She was bedridden. Emma was told by Charlene and Stan that Alice and Charlene got into a fight, and while he tried to pull them apart, Alice accidentally hit him with a wine bottle, then ran off when she saw the blood. Far from the truth, and no mention of the attempted assault. When Alice told Emma what really happened, she was disappointed in Stan, but more so with Charlene for not doing the right thing. During the conversation, Emma mentioned that when Stan was working at a jewelry store, 2 young men went to jail for some jewelry that disappeared without a trace. That aroused Alice's curiosity. She proceeded to the basement where Stan had a safe. She saw him type in the code a few times, and she memorized it. In the safe were jewelry and lots of cash. She took all the cash, amounting to $170,000, but she didn't touch the jewelry. She left a letter in the safe saying, "No doubt the jewelry was stolen from the jewelry store where you worked. I will share the cash with your 2 colleagues who spent time in prison for the jewelry that you stole. Just in case you decide to pursue me, I've got video evidence of your picture next to the missing jewelry and all the contents in the safe. The only reason I'm not letting the police lock your ass up is because Emma won't have anyone to look after her." Stan was panicking. He did not pursue her. She split $50,000 between Stan's ex-colleagues as promised. She started on a mission to rebuild her life. She started by enrolling in a beautician course. She then hired a private investigator to find her mother, who abandoned her 12 years ago. She used some of the money to rent a shop space in a busy shopping center and transformed it into a beauty salon. She kitted it out with the latest equipment and hired a group of well-trained staff to work for her. Business was booming. She worked in her own shop as a trainee to learn the trade while she continued to pursue her qualification. Alice was delighted to learn that the private investigator tracked down her mother and was nervous at the same time. She had questions. Alice did not hesitate. She turned up at the address given to her by the private investigator. She knocked on the door. When Rosie opened the door, she immediately recognized Alice and burst into tears. Alice, on the other hand, was full of bitterness and wanted answers. She asked Rosie, "Why did you abandon me?" Rosie explained that it wasn't easy. "When I found out I was pregnant, I was only 15. I had no money, no home, no parents. Friends and family turned their backs on me. Abortion was not an option. I thought of it as a blessing in disguise." She told Alice that she gave birth to her when she was 16 years old. "Your father didn't want to know," she told her. "I made sure that you ate, then ate your leftovers if there were any left to eat." It made Alice teary. Rosie told Alice that things got worse when the landlord evicted her. She had no choice but to give her up and hope for the best. Rosie explained that after she left her, she was on the street for 10 months in the freezing cold, an experience she wouldn't wish on her worst enemy. She told her that she tried to get her back, but they told her that she was in long-term care. "I'm sorry for what you've been through. I had no choice. That was my only way to make sure that you ate." Alice was satisfied with her mother's explanation. With tears in their eyes, they embraced each other. Alice got the closure she wanted. She asked her mother to move in with her and be a part of her life once again. Don't forget to give the video a thumbs up and subscribe for more insightful content. Hit the notification bell so you never miss out on our latest videos. It's free to subscribe. Thanks for watching. Stop violence against women and girls.